We think that the PBOC will allow the currency to depreciate, which will give exporters a bit of a boost and also help import prices rise a little bit as well.
Alaistair, welcome back to Dukascopy TV. Always a pleasure to receive you.
Glad to be here, Natalie.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's jump straight in then. And last week was really a temperature test for the health of the Chinese economy. What were some of the key takeaways for you from that ream of data that we saw?
Most of the data was in line with our expectations. In fact, it was a little bit better than what we were expecting. If you look at the industrial production, there's a bit of a pickup in things like electricity production, which kind of shows that the economy is entering into a sort of cyclical upturn, which we've been talking about for the last couple of months. And this is driven by the rebound in housing, driven by continued consumer demand in China, especially. What's been slowing, on the other hand, though, is fixed investment, and that side of the economy continues to kind of falter a little bit more than we're expecting. So coal production, steel production, for instance, has been kind of declining a lot sharper than we're expecting. But overall, I think the trend is for an upswing on a broad, sort of slow. The broad trend is for an upswing through to the rest of the year.
Now, the Chinese government is targeting 6.5% to 7% GDP growth. How does that line up with your own expectations for the Chinese economy?
Well, prior to the Q2 numbers, we were expecting growth for the year below the government's target. We were expecting growth about 6.4% for the whole year. But given the rebound that we've seen in the last couple of months, we might have to revise that a bit up, possibly down to the lower end of the government's target, to about 6.5%. Again, this hides a lot of the variation in the sectors, with fixed investment growth slowing quite sharply, but industrial production, consumer demand quite strong. And then there's also a variation geographically as well. So in the northeast provinces of China especially, growth there continues to be quite weak. You could argue it's actually been in recession for quite a while, whereas the provinces in the south are booming quite strongly. And I think those are the areas that are going to help drive the cyclical upturn in China.
With the economy now sort of showing signs that stimulus measures put in place by the PBOC are beginning to bear fruit, as it were, do you see the central bank sort of stepping off that accelerator pedal in terms of economic stimulus, or is there still more to come, do you feel?
Yeah, we do actually. So we think that the PBOC has probably will halt its broad monetary policy measures. We're expecting interest rates and reserve ratios to stay fixed for the rest of the year, and probably the next move will be up rather than down. The one thing we are expecting, though, on the easing front is on the currency. So we're expecting the yuan to probably depreciate a little bit more for the rest of the year. We think that the PBOC will allow the currency to depreciate, which will give exporters a bit of a boost and also help import prices rise a little bit as well.
Lastly then, if we're looking to the next move and looking ahead, then what will be that next key economic driver for you, in terms of macro, in terms of overseas, in terms of political, that you'll be watching really?
Well, within China, we're looking mostly on housing. So that there's obviously, if you look at the big cities, growth there, price growth there is quite strong, double-digit year-on-year gains in Beijing, Shanghai, and so forth. I think the big question is whether this transitions into higher growth in the inland provinces, whether demand for housing over there picks up. If we see that pick up, I think we can say that the sort of boom or the sort of the recovery in China is spreading to the inland areas, and I think that's going to help transition the economy to a more consumption-based, domestically driven growth model.
Alaistair, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Natalie.
China, always giving us something new to talk about. Our many thanks to Alaistair Chan at Moody's Analytics for his insights today. That's all we've got time for right now, but do stay tuned for plenty more exclusive interviews and insights right from the Dukascopy TV team. For now, though, it is goodbye.